everyone. Welcome to Lukmaan IAS. So today we are going to take discussions of MCQs which are based on current affairs. And these MCQs are relevant for the UPSC Prelims examination. So today we are going to discuss the questions, in the rapid series. So let's start the discussion. Okay. So the first question for the day is related to the preamble of the Constitution of India. Okay, preamble of the Constitution of India. So we will read the question and then we will try to answer this question. It says, which of the following statements in the context of the preamble of the Indian Constitution is not correct? Here you need to remember that they are asking about which statement is not correct here. Okay, we have to identify the statement which is not correct. Okay, it means out of the 4 statements that are given, 3 of them are correct and only 1 of them is not correct. We have to just identify the statement which is not correct. So the first one says, it states that Constitution derives its authority from the people of India. This is correct. Why? Because if you read the preamble of the Constitution of India, the preamble itself starts, we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute, means like we the people of India have constituted, formed this constitution for ourselves. And in the last para of the preamble of the Constitution, it says that we therefore give to ourselves this constitution. Okay, means we means people of India have given the constitution to themselves. It means the source of authority of the Constitution lies with the people of India. Okay, so that's why statement A is correct. We need to identify incorrect statement. Okay, remember. The second one is, it is specify the objectives of the Constitution. Okay, objectives of the Constitution means there are, if you go through the preamble of the Constitution, talks about objectives like justice, social, economic and political, okay, justice, equality, fraternity, okay, etc. These are the objectives of the Constitution of India. Okay, so I will showcase the preamble to you and then you will be able to identify what are the objectives of the Constitution. They are mentioned in the preamble itself, right? Apart from this, it also tells about the nature of a state. Nature of a state means it talks about that India will be a sovereign state, it will be secular, it will be democratic, it will be republic, right? So these keywords are mentioned in the beginning of the preamble itself. So that talks about the nature of the Constitution of India. Then third, it says it is a source of power to the legislature. This statement is incorrect because it is neither a source of power for the legislature nor a prohibition nor a ban on the power of the legislature. It does not talk about, the preamble of the Constitution does not talk about whether the legislature is going to have power, it does not say that the preamble is the source, and it does not bar the the legislature from its powers. Fourth, it says it is non-justiciable in the courts. Non-justiciable means you cannot approach a court of law for enforcing the things that are mentioned in the preamble of the Constitution. Means it is non-justiciable. Okay, for any law, any act, wherever for its violation, you can go to the court, that becomes a justiciable thing. But when you cannot go to a court for enforcement of the thing from the preamble, it means it is non-justiciable. Okay, similar to preamble, we have directive principles of state policy. They are non-justiciable. Then we have fundamental duties in the Constitution of India. They are also non-justiciable. Okay, so I'll quickly show you the preamble of the Constitution so that you can have a glance, right? How it looks like, and you can read the preamble and remember it. So this is so we are concerned about the wordings in the preamble, right? There can be multiple designs, right? But the thing is we are concerned about the wordings, what is mentioned here. Okay, it says, we the people of India, right, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. Okay, democratic republic. So these keywords talk about the nature. Okay, talk about the nature of the Constitution of India. Then we, the people of India, and in the last part, hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution. these two parts together talk about source of authority. Okay, it talks about source of authority, right, lies with the people of India. Then these keywords, the keywords that you see, justice, liberty, equality and fraternity, these four keywords talk about the objectives of the Constitution of India. Okay, it talks about objectives, okay, of the Constitution of India. So these are the parts, right, and this particular constitution has been amended, right, under the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1976, wherein they have inserted socialist and secular, these keywords, and also they have inserted unity of the nation. Okay, integrity was there, unity they have inserted. So unity and integrity means like this part has been amended. Okay, this part has been amended and this part has been amended. So that is all about this question. So C part was incorrect. Okay, C part that talks about like, it is a source of authority to the legislature, source of power to the legislature, that is incorrect. Okay, here they have not mentioned anything about the legislature. All right, then why it was in news? This particular thing was in news because recently the Chief Justice of India, right, he has referred to the preamble of the Constitution of India, and he said that the preamble marks transition of people from subjects to citizens. Okay, so citizens means people of India. Okay, so in a recent context, the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India has mentioned about the preamble. So that's why we have asked a question from the preamble of the Constitution of India. With this, like, we will take another question. We'll take another question quickly. This is question number 2. In this question, we are going to discuss about Champion Services Sectors Scheme. Okay, so in short, it can be read as CSSS. Okay, Champion Services Sectors Scheme. So this question is relevant with that. Here they are asking, which of the following does not come under, okay, does not come under champion services sectors? There are 4 options. We have only one option that does not come under champion services sector. All other comes under champion services sector. So education services, they come under champion services, right? Transport and logistics services, they come under services. Then like legal services also come under, but like manufacturing services are not part of champion services sectors. Why it is not a part of it? Because this particular scheme, which is champion services sectors scheme, this scheme was initiated, like it was conceptualized in the year of 2018, and now we are in 2023. It's been almost 5 years that this scheme is in place. Right, at that point of time, the secretaries from different states, they have come together and they have suggested the government that like we can have champion services sectors scheme. So at that point of time, like there were 2 bodies. Like one of the bodies known as Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. In short, it is known as DIPP, and there is another like Department of Commerce. There is a department which is that is Department of Commerce. So what has happened, like initially they have decided that Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion will look into the manufacturing areas. Okay, will look into the issues related to manufacturing sector, and the Department of Commerce will look into the services sector. So this champion services sectors scheme like had 12 components in it, and those 12 components were like brought under the Department of Commerce. So that's why the manufacturing services is not a part of the champion services sectors scheme, because like the manufacturing sector is being looked after under a different scheme by the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. Apart from this, like there are 12 so 3 sectors are mentioned. There are in all 12 sectors, and these sectors are being taken care of by different ministries. Okay, there are different ministries, like we have Ministry of Education that looks into education services. Then transport and logistics related services is being taken care of by Ministry of Transport. Okay, then like legal services, Ministry of Law and Justice. Okay, we have a Ministry of Law and Justice, so that looks into it. And there are multiple other areas also. There are 12 areas, right? 12 items under the champion services sectors. So why champion services sectors is important? Because the government of India has identified the 12 sectors in which government wants to give more attention to, where government wants to invest money, so that like these services can flourish, these services can prosper, and like we can see growth in Indian economy through growth in these champion services sectors. Okay, so that's why like this scheme was like initiated by the government of India, and this is a central sector scheme. What do we mean by central sector scheme? Central sector scheme means that the central government is going to implement the scheme with its own money. Okay, so central government is going to invest its own money and it is going to implement itself. Okay, so that's why it is a central sector scheme. So champion services sectors. Okay, so let us quickly look into why it was recently in news. It was in news because the central government has formulated action plan for champion sectors in services, okay, to give focused attention to 12 identified champion services sectors. Okay, if you go through this like article, you will understand about details related to champion services sectors scheme. Okay, it was recently in news in the Press Information Bureau. So if you read it, you will understand more. So with this, like we will take another question quickly. This question is related to alternative investment funds. Okay, so let us read this question. It says, recently SEBI stands for Securities and Exchange Board of India. We have a body which is known as Securities and Exchange Board of India. I'm just writing it shortly here. Okay, so there is a body, it's known as SEBI. Recently SEBI has allowed alternative investment funds to participate in credit default swap. In this context, consider the following statements regarding the credit default swap. Okay, so in this question they have given the background, like what has happened. Recently SEBI has allowed these alternative investment funds to participate in credit default swap, and they have asked a question related to credit default swap. What is the central idea of the question? The central idea of the question is credit default swap, CDS. We need to understand what is CDS, and only then we'll be able to answer this question. Okay, so let us read the question first, then I'll make you understand about what do we mean by CDS. It says, the lender buys a CDS from another investor who agrees to reimburse if the borrower defaults. Second, CDS is used for speculation, hedging, or as a form of arbitrage. So these terms that are mentioned over here, they seem to be very technical, and a layman like me and you may be finding it difficult to understand these terms. Okay, so here what we have to do, we have to identify which of these statements are correct. Okay, we have to identify. Basically, like both these statements are correct. Okay, option C will be the right answer. Let me talk about what do we mean by credit default swap. Okay, so first of all, let me talk about what do we mean by SEBI. So SEBI is a regulator. Like on one side we have the Reserve Bank of India that regulates the let's say the financial things in the country. I mean, when we talk about banks are being regulated by Reserve Bank of India. So Reserve Bank of India has a different domain to look into the things. Similarly, we have a body, it's known as SEBI. So SEBI looks into and regulates the securities and exchange markets. I mean, it regulates the primary and secondary market in India. So we will discuss about those markets in a later discussion, because that will take the discussion to a very, it will become a very lengthy discussion. So SEBI is a body. I mean, it is an independent autonomous body that regulates the securities market in India, right? In securities market, under securities market, we have Bombay Stock Exchange, we have National Stock Exchange. And so in these stock exchanges, there are multiple companies that are listed. Okay, publicly listed companies are listed with SEBI or BSE, National Stock Exchange, NSE or BSE, like that. So it regulates the NSE NSE, BSE, and like, those companies that are listed basically, like, okay. And alternative investment funds, right? These are different categories of funds. Okay, these are categories of funds where, like, people invest their money into. Okay, and these funds actually, invest in some kind of, like activities. So if we talk about credit default swap, these are known as financial derivatives. Okay, these are known as financial derivatives. What do we mean by financial derivative? Let us understand about what is credit default swap. These are financial derivative. Means, let's say, like, there are companies. Okay, let's say like there is a company named as Wipro, right? If it is listed in the stock exchange, so its shares will be like available in the market, right? Its shares will be available in the market. You as a citizen of India or you as an investor, right, can purchase these shares. So this is like directly purchasing shares. These are known as equities. These are shares. But like, we also have indexes, right? We have Sensex, we have, Nifty 50. So if we talk about indexes, okay, if we talk about indices or index, right? So these index, I mean, like, these index has some underlying assets in it. These index have assets as equities of, like, different companies. You're understanding? So index is a kind of derivative. Similarly, I mean, like, credit default swap is also a kind of derivative. CDS is also a kind of derivative. So you need to understand that, like, CDS derives its value from the underlying assets that it represents. Okay, so generally what is happening in this question, okay, so we have three parties. Let's say party A. This party is a lender. Then party B, this party is a borrower. Okay, then party C. Okay, this party is a kind of like investor, or we can say it to be a guarantor. Okay, investor or guarantor. For example, party B, it wants to borrow some money, and party A, which is lender, it wants to lend some money. Okay, so A is lending money to B, but like A has some notion in mind, like that, like, if what will happen if the borrower defaults, if the borrower does not pay back the money to me, what will happen? Borrower is borrowing money, lender is lending money, it is giving money, right? Like maybe on certain interest rate. But the thing is, like, the lender is facing difficulty in lending because, like, it is seeing that, like, if the borrower defaults, so I will be at loss. So what happens? The investor C, right? The investor C, like, it has a instrument which is known as CDS. Okay, credit default swap. It's a kind of derivative, it's a kind of contract, it's a kind of document. Okay, so this document is purchased. Okay, this document is purchased by the lender. So after purchasing this document, the risk of defaulting, right, is, like, taken by the investor. So this investor gives him, like, this investor charges some money. It charges some money which is known as premium. And this premium is similar to, let's say, like insurance premiums that you pay. It charges some money for taking the risk of the lender. Okay, so if in case the borrower defaults, so this investor will pay money to the lender, but like in turn this investor will charge some money which is known as premium. So this is the role of CDS. Okay, CDS means like this credit default swap is a kind of instrument in which the lender does away with the, let's say, risk associated with lending money, because that risk is transferred to another investor. So this is what is being said by the first statement. It says the lender buys a CDS from another investor who agrees to reimburse if the borrower defaults. Okay, so this is correct statement. And CDS is used for speculation, hedging, or as a form of arbitrage. What do we mean by speculation? Speculation means these CDS, like currency default swap. Okay, these CDS, currency default swaps, are commonly traded into the stock exchange, like in the market. So like people are buying and selling the CDS. Okay, so whenever the price of CDS is going up, they sell it. When the price is going down, they buy it to make profit. Okay, so it's a kind of speculation. Okay, it's a kind of speculation that is used. Second thing is hedging. What do we mean by hedging? Hedging means like making a boundary, like saving yourself or protecting yourself. So like what the lender is doing over here, the lender is saving himself of the risk. Okay, credit default risk. Okay, so it is like used for hedging also. And as a form of arbitrage. Arbitrage means like the risk is being taken care of here, but like CDS certificates can be traded across the markets from one market to another market. Okay, so like both these statements are correct. Okay, both these statements are correct. So with this, like we will move to the next question. Okay, so this was in news, so that's why we have asked a question on this topic. The topic seemed to be little technical in nature, but like if you read it more, you will be able to understand it. Okay, so with this, like we will take fourth question. It says Doomsday Glacier, also known as Thwaites Glacier, recently seen in news, is located in which of the following region? Okay, so here basically there is a glacier which was in news, its name is Doomsday Glacier. It is also known as Thwaites Glacier. They're asking where it is located. They have given different options: Alps, Arctic Ocean, Antarctica, Himalayas. Okay, if you read it, it is a factual question. If you have come across it, you will be able to answer. If you have not come across it, you will not be able to answer. Basically, like it's located in Antarctica. Okay, it was recently in news, so that's why we have asked a question. I'll show a map of it. Okay, for you to understand. So this is the map of Thwaites Glacier. You see, this is Antarctica. Okay, this is Antarctica. This is in the south pole of the earth. Okay, so like if we have a earth here, okay, in the south pole somewhere here we have Antarctica. Okay, in the western part of Antarctica we have this glacier which is Thwaites Glacier. Okay, this is Thwaites Glacier, and this glacier is in news because like some artificial intelligence technologies like were used to identify that this particular glacier is melting at a very faster pace. Okay, so that's why it was in news. And like many other things are in news related to artificial intelligence usage, like usage of artificial intelligence for understanding the receding of the glacier. Receding means like glacier water is melting, and so like glaciers, I mean like are moving up basically. Okay, so this was in news. So this is the news item. You can go through it, you will understand it. Okay, so you just needed to understand where the location is. Okay, we don't need to go into detail about what is happening, what research is being taken care, being conducted there. This is question number 5. We will quickly take this question. It says, consider the following statements regarding preventive detention under Article 22 of the Constitution. Okay, preventive detention under Article 22 of the Constitution. You know that Article 22 is a part of fundamental rights in the Constitution of India. Okay, they have given 2 statements, and here we need to identify the correct statements. Okay, so when it says, if a person is detained under preventive detention, the reason for his detention has to be informed within 24 hours. This is incorrect. Second, only Parliament has the authority to make laws on preventive detention. This is also incorrect. Okay, so the correct answer for this question will be option D, neither 1 nor 2. Okay, option D, neither 1 nor 2. So let me talk about what do we mean by punitive and preventive detention. So when we talk about detention, what do we mean by detention? Detention means taking into custody through legal means. Okay, means like if police people arrest someone and like keep them put them into jail, or let's say like put them behind the bars, so that is known as detention. Detention means like arresting and keeping someone behind the bars in a lawful manner. That is detention. There are 2 types of detention. One type of detention is known as punitive detention. Second one is known as preventive detention. Okay, punitive detention and preventive detention. What do we mean by punitive detention? Punitive detention means that someone has done some crime, right? He has gone through trial in a court of law, and the court of law has convicted him of the crime, and then the court of law has allowed that person to be taken into custody and put behind the bars. So that is known as preventive detention. So in case of preventive detention, if someone is like, it is known as punitive detention. In case of punitive detention if someone is like taken into custody by the police officials, right? And then like, the police officials or like, the authority should inform the person within 24 hours. Within 24 hours about the grounds of detention, like why he is being taken into custody, or like, the official should produce him before, judicial magistrate within 24 hours of detaining the person. In case of punitive detention. In case of preventive detention, what happens, like, the authorities and officials are like taking into custody a person who has not committed any crime, means like who has not committed a crime. For that, like, he is taken into like custody. Why? Because to stop him from doing any crime. Let's say like the authorities are suspicious that like this particular person may do a crime, right? So that's why they have detained that person. They have, hold that person into custody, and now like, the police officials or like, the authorities are not letting him do the crime. Okay, so that is known as preventive detention. In case of preventive detention, what happens? The person can be kept behind the bars, right? Can be kept behind the bars for at most 3 months. Right, for at most 3 months, and after 3 months, like if they want to keep him into the custody, they have to take the approval from I mean like, people who are of the stature of judges of the High Court. Okay, either the serving judges of the High Court, or a person who is qualified to be a judge of the High Court, or a retired person from the High Court. So like retired, High Court judge, they should give an opinion, a report, like on which like they should mention that like, there are sufficient grounds because of which like we want to keep this person into custody. Okay, so the time frame in case of preventive detention is 3 months. It is not like, 24 hours, it is 3 months. So that's why the first statement was incorrect. Okay, in case of punitive detention, it is 24 hours. In case of preventive, it is like 3 months. Like if you go through Article 22, there are 7 clauses. Okay, there are 7 clauses. The clause 4 especially talks about the preventive detention. Okay, clause 4 talks about it. Clause 1 and 2 talks about punitive detention. Clause 3 talks about like in which cases the punitive detention will not be applicable, right? But like 4th clause talks about the preventive detention. Okay, and it says only Parliament has the authority to make laws on preventive detention. It's not the case. The Parliament has the authority, exclusive authority to make laws on certain cases, right? Cases related to national security, cases related to foreign relations. There are, 3 specific clauses under which the Parliament has exclusive authority. But state governments also have the authority to make laws, right? To make laws on preventive detention. Like, in that case, like state government and the central government, they have concurrent power. They have, together they share the power of making laws on certain other matters that are connected with the, state government, that are connected with the state. So that's why, like option D is right. Okay, option D is right. I understand I'm being little quicker, but like you need to read this, read the topic to understand it. Okay. So recently, like, this particular preventive detention related thing was in news because Pinarayi has turned Kerala into a police state, Congress says. Okay, so what happened, like in Kerala, like it is being, like it is in news that like, the authorities, the chief minister, I mean like they are putting like anyone behind the bars who is raising voice against the established government over there. Okay, so that's why the issue of preventive detention is in news. Okay, you can read about it to understand more about it. Let's take another question. This is question number 6. It says, Consider the following statements about transfer of High Court judges. Okay, transfer of High Court judges. So you know, like High Court judges can be transferred from one High Court to another High Court. High Court judges and Chief Justice of the High Courts, they both can be transferred. Okay, so in case of judges, there is another mechanism. In case of Chief Justice of High Courts, there is another mechanism. So you know, in the Supreme Court of India, we do have a collegium system. Okay, the collegium actually takes a decision related to the matters of transfer. Okay, so what happens, like we will understand about this particular question, and we will see like which of these statements are correct. Okay, because in this question we have to identify which statements are correct. First, it says Article 222 of the Constitution makes provision for the transfer of a judge, including the Chief Justice, from one High Court to any other High Court. Okay, so this is right. So this is a factual information that Article 222 of the Constitution makes provision for the transfer of the judges of a High Court, okay, including the Chief Justice of the High Court. This is a very factual question. Like if you open the Article 222, you will come across the similar sentence over there. Second, the CGI, they should have mentioned the CGI, because at a point of time we have only one Chief Justice of India. The CGI should consult 5 senior most judges of the Supreme Court for transferring judges of the High Court. Okay, they should not consult 5. They the Chief Justice of India should consult 4 other, okay, 4 other senior most judges of the Supreme Court, right, for transferring judges of the High Court. Okay, so he should consult. Okay, he should consult with 4 other judges. So the collegium, collegium should be of 5 people. The Chief Justice of India and 5 other senior most judges of the Supreme Court of India. Right? Whenever they want to transfer judges of the High Court, including the Chief Justice of High Court, there is a proper mechanism of doing this particular thing. Okay, so I'm not going into the mechanism because it will make the video to be a long video. Okay, the discussion that we are having. Okay, so there is a mechanism. If you go through the Article 222, you will understand the mechanism. Okay, so the decision of transferring judges, okay, is basically taken by the Chief Justice of India initially. He initiates the process, then he consults the 4 chief senior most judges of the Supreme Court of India related to that, and let's say from High Court A, okay, this is High Court A, this is High Court B, from here we have judge. Okay, so we have judge. So basically what happens, if this judge is to be transferred, the CJI consults with the Chief Justice of this particular High Court, okay, Chief Justice of this High Court, and then they also consult with the Chief Justice of the other High Court, okay, to transfer this judge. They take a decision, they give a written thing to the Ministry of Law and Justice. Then Ministry of Law and Justice then sees this matter. They transfer the matter to the let's say to the Prime Minister of India. Then the Prime Minister of India submits this particular thing, gives his opinion to the President of India. Then the President of India gives effect to this particular thing. There is a proper machinery for this. Okay, so both these statements, okay, the first statement is right, the second statement is incorrect. So which is correct? Only option A is right. Okay, option A, which is Article 222, right? So with this, we will take another question. This question is again important. It says, with reference to glacier lake outburst floods, consider the following statements. Okay, so this is a very technical term. This is related to lake outburst, okay, glacial lake outburst flood. So let me break down this term. What do we mean by this? See, on the high mountains we have glaciers. If you go to the Himalayas, you will find glaciers. Glaciers means ice ice sheets on the top of Himalayas. So they form glaciers. They slowly and gradually they recede. Okay, they recede from the top to the down. Okay, so when they flow down, what happens? The glacier, the ice starts melting. So this ice melts and they form lake type of architecture. Why lake? Because it is surrounded by, let's say, landforms there in the high mountains. Okay, lake. water surrounded by this. So what happens, like if the water level increases drastically, if the earthquake comes, or let's say, like, you know, because of some other natural calamities, you know, these lakes can outburst, the water from these lakes can outburst. So it leads to a kind of flood which is known as glacial lake outburst flood. Okay, recently an incident has happened wherein, like, you know, the land has subsided in like one of the state, like I guess Himachal Pradesh. Okay, so it is like people are suspecting that it might have happened because of glacial lake outburst flood. So that's why we have asked a question, and recently Center for Science and Environment, okay, Center for Science and Environment, CSE, okay, Center for Science and Environment, like has come up with a report, okay, proper report, you know, citing the glacial lakes outburst flood. So that's why this topic is in news. So let us quickly see the question and we will try to answer this question. So it says earthquakes can cause glacial lake outburst floods. Definitely, like in the high mountains, if earthquake happens, so it may lead to, like, you know, outburst of the glacial lake. So this is possible. Second, the population exposed to globs decreases with distance from like decreases with the distance from the glacial lake. Okay, so this is incorrect. I mean, like, you know, technically it seemed to be correct, but like if you go to through the report of CSE, it says like it increases. Okay, it increases means like there is a range also. That range is, you know, 20 kilometer to 35 kilometer. So if we go away, like from the glacier lake, the population, the number of people who are exposed to the glacial lake outburst floods, they increase. Like if you are very near to the glacial lake outburst floods, then, like, you know, the population may be less, but like if you go into this range, generally the population exposed to globs increases. Okay, this is the thing. So that's why second statement is incorrect. The third statement, it says glob result in large downstream of river discharges. Definitely, okay, means glacial lake outburst flood, when it happens, so it results into like rivers. I mean, like, you know, these rivers are, like, you know, large downstream, like, you know, the water will flow down the river, right, in large quantities. So like this is what is mentioned in the third statement. So which of these statements are correct? 1 and 3 are correct. So we will be the right answer in this case. Okay. So with this, like, we will move to the next topic. So this was in news recently. Okay, Himalayan plunder. 3 million Indians live in areas that can be swept by glacial lake floods, says a study. Okay, so multiple, you know, news articles were there on this topic. So that's why we formulated a question on this. This is question number 8 again. Okay, question number 8. So this question is based on Jal Jeevan Mission. Okay, so we have to identify correct statements related to this. Let us read the question. It says it aims to provide piped water to every rural household by the year 2024. Okay, this is correct information. Just for information, see, the Jal Jeevan Mission comes under, you know, Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation. Jal Jeevan Mission comes under Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, and that department works under Ministry of Jal Shakti. Okay, we have a ministry, it's known as Ministry of Jal Shakti. First statement is right. If you open the website, there is a dedicated website of the Jal Jeevan Mission also. If you open the website, you will come across this particular, you know, statement. Then second, a fully functional tap water connection. Okay, a fully functional tap water connection is defined as a household getting at least 55 liters of potable water per capita per day all through the year. This is also correct. Okay, this is there, like, you know, this is correct. It focuses more on numerical target rather than the quality of water. This statement is incorrect. Why it is incorrect? Because, like, if you go through the website of Jal Jeevan Mission, it says like adequate quantity with prescribed quality of water. Means like they focus on quality also, they focus on quantity. Adequate quantity with prescribed quality of water should be like made available to the rural households by the year 2024. They want to cover the entire country. By now they have covered around 57% of the country, but, like, you know, by 2024 they want to cover the entire country, right, under the piped drinking water. Okay, so this is incorrect. But recently there was an article in The Hindu, I guess, right? In that article they have talked about, they have mentioned that, like, it focuses more on numerical targets rather than quality of water. Basically this can be taken as an opinion, right, of an author. This can be taken as a critique or a point in critique of Jal Jeevan Mission. But when we talk about the Jal Jeevan Mission, the version of the government, like, they focus on adequate quantity with prescribed quality. So that's why this makes this statement to be incorrect. So correct answer will be option B, which is 1 and 2 only. Okay. Question number 9 again. So, like, we are going to discuss this question quickly. It says, consider the following statements regarding Indian Council of Historical Research. Okay. This is a body, Indian Council of Historical Research. This body comes under Ministry of Education. Why this body is recently in news? Because, like, like, people have been talking about rewriting the Indian history. Okay, so, like, it was widely debated, it is in news, it is politicized. So people are talking about rewriting the Indian history, and, like, people are criticizing about this thing. So who is going to rewrite if something is going to happen like this? So there is a body, Indian Council of Historical Research. So a question has been asked in the Parliament of India, and the concerned minister, I guess Dharmendra Pradhan, he is the Minister of Education. He has responded to the start question in the Parliament. He has said that, like, this particular body is not rewriting the history, it is only filling the gaps. Okay, so he said, like, it is only filling the gaps. So related to this, like, we have got this question. It is asking, which of the statements given above is or are incorrect? We have to identify incorrect statements. It comes under Ministry of Culture. This is incorrect. It comes under Ministry of Education. Okay, so that's why it is incorrect. It has been established by Indian Council of Historical Research Act. There is no act like this. It was established in the year of 1972. That is right, but, like, it was established under an administrative order. Okay, there was an administrative order for this. Okay, there was an administrative order. So that's why second statement is also incorrect. Third statement, ICHR headquarters is established in Mumbai. This is incorrect. The ICHR headquarters is established in Delhi. Then it has its regional centers in India, in Kolkata and other places, right? So that's why all the three statements are incorrect, and our answer will be option D. Option D is the right answer for this question. Okay. Indian Council of Historical Research. It is not Ministry of Culture, it is Ministry of Education. Correct answer would be Ministry of Education. Okay. Then the last question, question number 10. We are just going to look into this question. Another class is about to happen, that's why I'm rushing through. Okay, so, like, in our next discussion, I can take the questions, like, I can give more time to the questions. It says the Geological Survey of India recently discovered huge reserves of lithium deposits in Jammu. The GSI operates under which of the following ministries? Okay, it is they have just asked the name of the ministry. Okay, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Ministry of Coal, Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of Mines. It operates under Ministry of Mines. Okay, correct answer is option D. So why lithium is important? Because in India we never had any lithium reserves, but recently it was identified that, like, in Jammu we do have a lithium reserve. So it is not yet established, but, like, people are doing research into it. And why lithium is important? Because, like, you might have heard about lithium ion battery. Okay, you might have heard about lithium ion battery, Li battery, like that. So this battery is used in electric vehicles, it is used in mobile phones, it is used in, let's say, electronic gadgets, computers, etc. So that's why lithium is an important, like, important resource. So that's why it was in news. So it is just a factual question where they have asked about under which ministry the Geological Survey of India works. It is Ministry of Mines. Okay. So that's all for today. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's discussion. If you have any questions, you can, write your questions in the comment. We will try to answer the question in the next session, or, like, we will respond in the comment itself. That's all from my side for the day. Thank you so much, everyone.
The first step towards achieving your dreams is having the right coach. Get the best education with Lukmaan IAS and make your UPSC dreams come true. Download the app now.